All right, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. My name is Kevin, and if you're new here, well, maybe you've missed the last video I posted, which was about me taking delivery of this vehicle. So yes, this is actually my own personal vehicle now, and a review is to come, but this video is supposed to serve as a precursor to the full review, because I don't really want to waste my time talking about these things in the full review. I just want to get this out of the way. What is it like piloting around, tooling around in a $100,000, pretty much like a Hot Wheels toy, essentially, on an everyday basis? So let's kind of get into that. Now, I have actually driven cars that are more expensive than this, but I haven't driven cars that are quite as nice as this, and that's part of the reason why I own this thing. I've driven the little Tesla that costs like $150,000, that little P100D Tesla Model S. I've driven that, and I've driven all the little Vets, the little Jaguar F types, the little, all these like little sports cars, little AMGs, M cars, all that good stuff, right? So it's kind of different when you own something of this caliber. I'm not going to lie. Even if, let's say, you got this thing used, right? Like for 60, 70 grand, even high 50s is possible to get this car in the used market for like a 2018 model year. There's certain things about this particular car, the LC, where it's just like you're a bit more timid, let's just say, because this is a very bespoke car. I don't consider this to be a supercar, but it is definitely an exotic car. And you look at the headlights, those little tiny little headlights, those probably cost a fortune. Those infinity taillight things, all this stuff looks incredible. It is like a Mona Lisa on four wheels. It's like a piece of artwork on four wheels, and I'm pretty cognizant about that when I, go over rough terrains, rough bumps, or, when I'm in rush hour traffic. It is something that I am quite aware of. And it's not necessarily me that I'm worried about. I am not the issue here. Let's be honest. The 21st century, it doesn't matter what age you are, teenager, adult, middle-aged, 1,000 years old. It doesn't matter what your age is. Apparently nobody of the 21st century knows how to operate a automobile, a motor vehicle. They don't know how that's done, apparently. You drive out here, it doesn't really matter what part of the United States you're in, really. I've driven in a few different areas now, and apparently the general mannerisms of the road is about the same. You have a two-lane road, you have two idiots. They're both going side by side, exact same speed, usually 5 under the speed limit, maybe even 10 under the speed limit. And they're doing that whole thing, and then you're stuck behind them. They won't let you pass. And then there's this other idiot, presumably from New York, and then he's right up your asshole, basically, the entire time. And then he's beside you, and then he won't let you pass. And now you're behind these two people, and it's just not a good situation to be in. I mean, nobody allows anybody to go past each other. It's just a very obnoxious situation to drive in, and it's just constant too. Nobody knows the rules of the road. People drive 10 under the speed limit. This car is far too easy to drive. It is, Lexus definitely makes sure to protect your investment, that's for sure. It's like for somebody who's never driven a rear-wheel drive car before. I'll talk more about that in the driving segment. So every day you're piloting around, you're driving this little $100,000 art piece around, and you're driving amongst these idiots. It's kind of stressy, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit more timid. I've noticed myself not really zigzagging in and out of traffic anymore. I'm not doing anything too crazy anymore. When I had that Corolla, I swear to God, I was the fastest guy on the road. I can go to the moon and back in less than 5 seconds, I promise you that. But in this, the other day, some guy, this is what he did to me. He did this thing. It was some guy in a brown Ford Fusion, and he did this. He just kind of got in my lane and then got back into his. I don't know what that was, but I immediately got on the brakes and just did 10 under the speed limit, and I just let all the idiots go past. I just let them do their own thing. I just watched from a distance. I just watched all of them not let each other pass, and that whole fiasco, and then I just made my little right-hand turn and I was out of there. I wish I got this car like a month ago during quarantine, when everybody was really quarantined inside their houses. That would have been nice, because the roads were really empty then. And another thing, I'm in a bright red douchey sports car. I have never had this much attention in my entire life. Like, I've owned some nice cars, I'm not gonna lie. Previously I had the BMW 440i, you know, I had the little Genesis G80. You know, the Genesis got some attention because everybody thought that thing was like a Bentley Mulsanne or something like that. So people were none the wiser. But the BMW, you know, nice little whip, right? Little 440i Grand Coupe, you know, a little 4-door coupe thing going on, you know, pretty stylish ride, right? It pales in comparison to the attention that this thing gets, man. Like, I pulled up to this one place and a couple of, like, I guess Asian kids, they're all kind of standing around, and they saw me pull up in this, and they all just stopped everything that they were doing. They're just staring at me, and I kind of walked past them, right? Didn't really pay any attention to them, but I walked by them, I overheard them say, like, oh, that's Paris Hilton's car. It's like $500,000 and all that. They thought this was like the LFA or whatever. So I thought that was pretty funny. It's just unbelievable the amount of attention that this car gets. And honestly, I'm not made for that. I'm not that type of guy. I thought I was, but I'm really not. It's a bit much. I'm starting to get used to it now. I just don't pay any attention to it. But everywhere you go, people are just breaking their necks to look at this thing. In hindsight, it might not have been a bad idea to get a black version of this car. I see why cars like the 911s and stuff like that are popular, because it is a lot more incognito compared to this car. This thing, there's certain places where I don't even want to take this car, honestly. Like certain parts of town, you know, obviously I stay away from the congested city areas. I usually take like back roads and stuff like that, kind of like what I'm doing right now. I try to avoid the little main roads and stuff like that, because when you're a child, you know, you have like these dreams and aspirations. Oh, I want like a neon green Lamborghini and like a purple Ferrari and, you know, all this stuff, right? And as a child, you don't really think to yourself, like, what that's actually like, you know, having 6-figure automobiles out on public roads with this many idiots that don't know how to drive or care or anything like that, right? It's just, it's a little stressy. And, you know, again, when I had the little BMWs and that stuff, you know, those are kind of like mass-produced cars. You know, parts are readily available. You don't really care as much. This car has like a sense of gravity with it. You know, there's like this aura, this heft to it, because you know parts are a fortune in this thing, and that it's very expensive to, you know, get parts. That is pretty special. Driving this thing, I love it. The review is going to come out, but you might think I'm a little bit biased because I own the thing, but I've driven a lot of cars in my time. This is honestly the best car I've ever owned and driven in my entire life. This thing is pretty spectacular. But yeah, anyway, like I was saying, the BMWs, you know, all the other cars I've owned in my life, you know that there's parts readily available for it. This thing, you know, like headlights, taillights, all that stuff, even the windshield costs a damn fortune in this thing. So if something goes wrong, if you know, someone nicks it, someone bumps into it, you're pretty much screwed. And yeah, insurance covers it, but it's like, it's never the same. But if you own this thing, if you buy this, honestly, I don't think there's a lot of other cars out there that you will enjoy as much as this out on public roads. I mean, of course there are faster cars out there in the world, obviously, but how much of that can you practically use on the road? I'm going to talk more about this in the review again, but you know, I feel like this is the perfect car if you've owned supercars, or if you've owned like really fast cars, really fast Vets, Hellcats, stuff like that. And that's great. You know, I'm glad that people can have that experience. You know, horsepower is readily available nowadays. Honestly, you can get a $35,000 Camaro that'll run circles around this, and that's fantastic. I really appreciate that, and I respect that. However, once you're done having your fun with cars like that, I think almost any of you, whether you've had experience with, you know, fast cars or not, you can get into this and you will appreciate just how good this is as a street car, because that's what this was designed for. That's what it was made for. You know, it's not like it's a race car for the road type of thing. It's not that at all. The heft, the quality, all that is top notch. And again, a review is to come. In this video, I just want to tell you, like, the attention is crazy. I've changed my behaviors because of this car. And it's just something that if you've never driven or owned something like this, even if you buy this thing used, I think you will share my exact same sentiments, because it's a special car, it's a bespoke vehicle, it's an exotic car. It comes with its own little aura, essentially, and you're always aware of it. And I hope you like attention. If you love this car and you're not really down with that type of attention, consider getting it in black or something. I think that might help. You know, just something to consider, right? Or like a dark blue or something like that, because I've seen a silver, a white, and a dark blue in my part of town essentially. So it's something to look into if you love this car. Anyway, thank you for watching this little video. Since you made it this far at the end, I guess I'll tell you another few things. Yeah, reviews are to come, but I'll tell you some things I might be doing with this car. I might get this car ceramic pro'd. I've never done anything like that before because I've never had a car that was worth doing that to. I like my BMW, but again, you know, I don't really have a need to do that with. But anyway, I'm probably going to get this car tinted because this thing is a massive fishbowl. Like, it's pretty much like I'm riding around with the windows down all the time. Like, everybody can see me. Everybody knows what's going on in here. So I think I'm going to do that. Probably like a little 30% tint. I'll probably be doing that. Maybe in the windshield and the rear windows too, actually. So, yeah, I'll probably be doing that. But those are just my little plans. Again, thank you for watching. I hope to see you guys on the review. Take care and goodbye.